This meeting is being recorded, and welcome everyone and to this first quarter in 2025. We have this launch of the latest product management solution, functions and features and so on. And we have made this, or the product management has done a lot of work here. So this is a meeting to just go through what's been made or released the last quarter, I think, and maybe some more they will explain. And also, this will be uploaded to the partner portal. It will be so that everyone can find it again later. And I will notify you and send a message with a link to the document so that you can find it with all the information, both the material, presentation material, and also this recording. So you'll find it again later. Okay. We also would like you all to ask questions when they have this presentation. So please, if you can write them, the questions in the chat. But and for those of you that are presenting, please read the question in the chat up before answering it, because it won't be when we do this recording and put this up later on, the chat will not be noticed in the recording. So please read up the question as well before answering it. Okay, and there will also be possible to have sum up questions at the end of the session. Okay. Then I'll just hand over to Torvald and he can start. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Elin. Good morning, everybody, to this first launch presentation from product management. We have a great deal of stuff to show you, and this is our first, call it a webinar on new launches, and this is for Q1 2025. And this is a part of our enablement process. That means that we present this to you for you to be able to both sell, implement, and support the new features. We will not go into extensive details of every feature and function, but we will focus on the value messaging so that you know the intention behind the new features before you start talking about it and promoting it. So we have made a agenda for the day. We have 1.5 hours approximately, and I will start with the roadmap and presenting what we are planning ahead. Some of you have already seen the roadmap in different iterations, but the current roadmap will be, of course, interesting to see and follow as we proceed. In addition, we for each launch, we might have some major launches that will be like a module or sub-module or major features that we want to highlight and go more into details on. And we also provide more extensive documents and introductions to those major launch features. And then I will go through some other details of what we are presenting then for this quarter, and we will follow up with like our ask to us and like a summary of what we have planned and what you need to do also going forward. So let me start with the roadmap. That is giving us the guidelines for where we are going. And of course, it is a plan, and plans can change. And therefore, we always present this with a disclaimer. And we are also, it is very important for us that you keep this to yourself and don't include it in any contracts or commit to any of the information in the roadmap. because these plans can change at any point in time. Of course, we want to have a stable roadmap and a stable direction for our product, but changes in the details can happen, and also changing in prioritize and order of things can happen. I'll also show this to many of you before, but this is sort of our product objectives. Of course, we are going to be compliant in the markets we are in and for the industries we are in. So we're working and focusing on compliance issues. We're also focusing on extendability in the product, and there we have developments on platform capabilities. So that's another area where we are focusing. And of course, for everything that we do, we have focus on productivity, making the applications easy to use, have a good workflow, and being intuitive for the users. So, and in new developments, these considerations are sort of embedded. And of course, we are working on completing the solution, meaning that we are stretching for being a best of breed solution for selected industries. And of course, we do continuous improvement with that. When it comes to best of breed in our selected industries, we have set us some target, and of course we have a vision of being the best of breed in the selected industry, which is metal fabrication and high-tech manufacturing. But there are some opportunities that we want to capture. Not everything is within our objectives, so not everything can be included, and we need to stay focused in our development. So that's sort of our job as product management, to make sure that we are going in the direction that we have set out for the product. So, talking about vision and directions, we are raising the product to best of breed in selected industries. And what does that actually mean? And we have some elements that we want to focus on in that regards, starting with building a competitive core. What is the competitive core for an ERP system? It is being able to handle orders, so quote to cash is important. Of course, you also want to do purchasing, so procure to pay is a process that needs to be supported. Manage production is a process that you want to have in an ERP system. In addition, you want to have some sort of product management or lifecycle management for the products in the ERP system. Of course, you need to keep track of your finances in the ERP system. So all these are basic features that should be available in the ERP system. So we're focusing to making the core of RamBase as robust as possible. So many of the things that we do address this issue. And for our selected industries, we know that we are good at make to order of custom products in metal fabrication and high-tech manufacturing. And make to order is sort of the dominant feature in the product, but it addresses also other production philosophies or strategies. But we see that we, for instance, have things that we need to support to get full process support and also have more efficient workflow. So these things we are focusing on, and we are also focusing on the finance side of things where we want to do enhancements to make sure that we cover our bases in terms of cost tracking, for instance. And EMS is sort of a proxy for a specific industry, like if you call metal fabrication and precision machining, is a relatively low volume manufacturing, small production series or small production batches. In the electronics manufacturing services, you have more and need more capabilities related to larger batches and batch control, and also you have more complex product structures moving into the high-tech industry. So that means high-tech means, for instance, more new product introduction. It means more complex product structure. It also means more complex processes in manufacturing. So that means that we need to make capabilities within that. Also, of course, as always, we need to have traceability and cost and revision control, and having more features that can efficiently cater for higher volumes. Next step here is more focusing on OEMs. And with an OEM, you own the product yourself. The other things that we are quite good at and we are focusing on currently is based on contract manufacturing, make to order, custom products. When you have a standardized product, you also need more extensive tooling in terms of product lifecycle management. So that means that we are also need to build capabilities and also to make it more efficient to make the stock of higher volume manufacturing. That also means that the planning logic changes from being order-based to batch or product-based, and also that when you own the product yourself, you also need to do the forecast in comparison to a contract manufacturer that will typically get their forecast or their demand forecast from a customer. So that means that we need to extend the capabilities on the planning side for higher volume production. Of course, also that will include capabilities to do things across locations, and it also needs to cater for alternative revenue models, such as renting out the equipment that you produce, or subscriptions or other types of services added to the product itself, such as after-sales services and maintenance. And then, of course, the ultimate goal is to have a good solution that provides integrated supply chain. That means that we have to have master data management across entities. We need visibility, transparency across entities. We want to have process support for shared services within, for instance, accounting or procurement or planning, supply chain planning, for instance, across companies, and also being able to control a corporation. So corporate governance is a key in that area. So this is sort of the visionary statements around the direction we are going when we say that we are going to raise the product, the best of breed in selected industries. And of course, it's not like we just start on the left side and moving to the right here. It's a little bit like that, but we are adding features under all of these buckets as we go along and as we evolve our roadmap. So finally, then we are at the roadmap. It is presented in now, next, later, where now is the next 6 months. Next is the 12 months after that. So that's now, and next is the next 18 months, and later is 18 plus. This is not an exact science, and things in next and later might switch places, or the order of things might change. But this is sort of the plan we have for the different features. So you know that on the sourcing side, procurement side, we are working on the new Pure application. So that's the focus for the team there. And after that, we have lined up a queue of requirements related to things that also needs enhancements, such as sales and operations planning, requirements overviews, and lead time calculator, and all these things that we have delivered something on. But we need to continue to develop. The same goes with direct shipments and so forth. On the logistics side, we have done something on the way bill in already. and we will introduce more changes there, and we are working on those. We're also working on the features around location, because that is a legacy application, so we have addressed that, and we have also made some changes, or we're working on some changes to extended capabilities in that area. We are also starting, and we're planning on making more features related to companies that have several locations in one company, improving the requirements planning and the logistics and the transactions between locations in the system. So that is a focus area currently. And of course, we have other ambitions also in the logistics area, stretching the features and capabilities to cater the needs of the manufacturing companies that we are focusing on. When we come to design and make, that's of course the kit functionality and the work order functionality. We have delivered some stuff now. We are working on enhancement into pick-to production and the use of alternative material. Then also we are looking at what next to renew there, because there are still some legacy applications that we need to do, and we are doing assessments there in according to what is the most critical for future development. So we have received some feedback on the directions and what is relevant for or most relevant for the selected industries here. So that sort of will guide our focus, but the current focus is related to replacement equivalents, product revisions, and versioning, that sort of thing, to make sure that you have control of the components throughout the production, and you can plan with different versions and also use alternative parts, for instance. On the sales side, we are working on the rental module, and I've also written job order management. I'll come back to that a little bit, but that is not a new development. It is what is previously known as POD. So these are the primary processes, and then we have enablement processes where we have the quality features, where we are not doing anything specifically for ERP at the moment, but there are activities going on to, at some point in the next bucket, making QMS features available on the RamBase platform. That means that it is available for ERP customers. That includes the sales, not the sales and operation planning, but the standard operation procedures functionality that's with documents and training and so forth there. The VOC functionality, which is like a Gemba walk functionality that can be used for mini Kaizen events, and also the training log. It's not the sales, not sales and operation planning, but the standard operation procedures. It's made like you read and understand the procedures according to your role. The training log is when you have received active training, and it's sort of certified by the trainer. We are also working on getting some more ESG features into the system. So that's sort of something that is in the plans. Finance and accounting, currently working on a supplier invoice deviation alert, manual bank statement, and also some renewal of the payment management applications pay. So that will probably go into the next bucket, and we are hopefully going to do more improvements on the accounts payable automation system, and also related to milestone invoicing in the AIP sector. Of course, we are also doing something on costing, and that is said here for later, but that is also something that is across many of the teams, because cost is an element for anything you do in an ERP system. So that is something that hits across the teams in the future now. On the compliance side, we are working on tax reporting for Poland. So that's one area, the JPK files and so forth. But we've already delivered some things for Norway, mainly focusing on Poland on this side, because they have quite extensive requirements. On the technology side, we are doing something exciting, and I think that will be addressed during the next session we have. So in some months on the data platform side. Some of you have already heard about it and seen something of it, but I will not go into the detail on the technology side here today. But one of the main deliveries from there is the MRB, of course, and enhancements to the file manager. So this was the roadmaps into some details. Now I will just go quickly through things that will be launched next time, which is pretty much the same things that I've already mentioned. It includes a little bit smaller issues and so forth. But we will have a relaunch of Pod in Q2, improved search and sort in STM, multiple addresses on one location, which is a lock enhancement. So that is related then to procurement and the first use of it. We also have done a renewal of the lock application, which will be released quite soon. And also we are planning on working on improvements on inbound logistics, staging area for Waybill in, and responsible person on Waybill in. So that's sort of the next step after we did what we did this quarter, and we're releasing this quarter. On procurement, we have the first part, purchase quote request, will come in Q2, and we will probably start beta testing with some customers as soon as possible in that area. On the manufacturing side, we have some enhancement on the data handling on external operations, and cleaning up a little bit some things that surfaced when we have customers having very high volumes on external operations, and that is sort of cleaning up how the dates are connected, because currently there might be some logic that it doesn't connect. Recalculating planned cost when changing resource rates. So when you change the cost for a resource, we're making a feature that recalculates the planned cost. We also had adding some more serial number validation on LCMs, and we developed some time ago for our customer AutoStore something called manufacturing area. And the features related to that is that you can have two production lines producing different versions of the same product. So you can have, for instance, different routing for the same product within one location based on what manufacturing area you set up. So we are preparing that for general availability. Also, we are working and has started that before Christmas, the logging of time to work order operations, to make sure that you can see the cost elements of what you have manufactured. Giving this is a tool for the controller to track and address deviations in production work order costs. And of course, I mentioned the things on the finance side. These things will be finished this quarter. That means that we will be launching it for Q2. All right, so this was the roadmap stuff and some things about the Q2 launch. So this is looking in the future. Now we're looking at the current quarter. And we have some things there. We do continuously release stuff, so things will be available when it is ready still. So that means that you need to pay attention to release notes and these early release information that you can find on the partner portal. And everything that is released is also documented. That's the criteria for releasing it, is that there is documentation on it. All the things that we will talk about in this presentation will be generally available from February 17th. And when it is general available, it can be marketed, sold, implemented, and supported. Of course, subject to company readiness, meaning that you are enabled, you have trained yourself in these and gotten familiar with the functionality. We will put material on the partner portal and we will share the recording after this. So if you have any questions, you can use the chat. There are several people from product management present here today. And for the first part of the presentation, it is the business analyst for CRM and rental, Christian, that will take us through the main feature of Q1 2025. So, Christian, you can take the show.
Thank you. I just saw there was one question related to your presentation, and it says, could you tell us what improvements are being made to pick to production or pick in production?
Yeah, maybe. Pick to production part 1. It is new picking options for picking specific materials to a production order. Yeah, it is improvements related to linking and relinking. So if the problem that we solve is when you're picking material to production where the material trace must be correct, it's time consuming to do this operation. When there are many batches in stock, it will often need much relinking to get the links correct. A function where the user can state what has been used and let the system do the relinking will save much time and reduce risk for making errors. That means that we try to do, when you do pick in production, we want to make sure that the linking and relinking is done automatically and that the user can pick whatever he has in front of him, and everything behind the scene will update automatically by itself. So that's sort of the essence of that project, and it might not be finished. It's not on the launch list for Q2 because it might be complex. So this is something that is already started, but it will probably be delivered for Q3. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Good. Yes, I will spend some minutes going through the subscription module, and I will also, during this presentation, tie it a bit into what we call the recurring revenue business model, because the subscription module is a part of another investment from our side. So I will use a combination of the first minutes. We'll kind of go through the PowerPoint. And I will also use some minutes doing the demoing the new subscription module in one of our systems. So just as with Torvald's presentation, if there's any questions, just fire them into the chat or raise your hand. So just some
Christian, just a question. That there was another question in the chat from Per Morten, and you answered in the chat. Can you say more about that and read it? Are you addressing it later?
No, I can just repeat it. It was about the relaunching of what we call today project order or pod. And the question was if the relaunch will affect any API integrations, and the answer to that is no, because the relaunch is all about relaunching. I've put a word market-wise, so changing the name being used in marketing and value messaging and presentations and so on when doing demos. So we won't change any names in applications or API resources and so on. So the relaunch is about kind of not using the project order word, because we're building some expectations in the market, which we, in many ways, cannot fulfill. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yes. Back to recurring revenue. Just some definitions. I've been being helped by some AI, but the reason for me doing this is because, as I said, the subscription module is basically a part of another investment, a huge investment we're doing with RamBase, and that's a renewal of the rental module. But recurring revenue is being used in the market, so it could be useful to know the definition of that, and that's obviously the predictable, consistent income generated from customers who make regular ongoing payments for then products or services. Products is typical rental, like we are now targeting equipment rental, while services such as licenses, one example, software licenses, normally defined as subscriptions. Yeah, and you could also say that subscriptions will provide you access to services like permanent access, while rentals do offer a temporary use of assets, or in other words, physical products. So as a part of this quite big project, which is, I would say, almost all about the equipment rental market or industry, I think that it is smart to have a minor stop, not stop development-wise, but use the opportunity now to launch subscription, because subscription it's a simpler business, basically, which requires not as much complex functionality and features and so on from RamBase. And also due to the fact that we have existing customers that do offer subscriptions, we have now used the opportunity to launch the subscription module into the market. So it will be, like Torvald said, the general available in mid-February. So this is it's basically an offering for B2B, so business to business subscriptions, and we can see that some of our existing customers, but also the clients we meet in pre-sales activities and so on, which is traditional MetFab companies or OEMs, they are thinking and they're considering to implement recurring revenue business model into their company to add, you could say, or offer value-added services to have some sort of recurring revenue on top of their core business. So that is where basically the subscription module will be useful for such companies. Some use cases, we have quite a few. We have a quite huge OEM company which sells products, but they do as a part of the sales to utilize the products that they do sell. There's the customer will need to subscribe for software licenses. So that's one of the cases, I mean, among the existing customers of us today. Also, we have Telco, which has been what we call our launch partner. So they are the only company which have had access to the new module since November. So they have, in cooperation with us, kind of helped out to validate the product. So I guess you will hear some more information about Telco, some customer stories and so on, I guess, in the future. They do offer ship solution software, which is their core business actually, and they are in quite a growth mode, expanding their businesses. So that's Telco, and also another example, just to help you understand, like subscription, is that we as a company, Hatlen Computer, as we are offering RamBase, we do use the subscription module as well to invoice the licenses that you have access to. Kind of a high level value messaging of the new module, as within this recurring revenue business, one of the main advantages is that the client, like the customer's customer, they kind of the reason for them either subscribing or renting is that they do have more options to customize. So just so both in terms of choosing services or products, but also they tend to have more options to decide themselves how often they should be invoiced. As one of many examples, also during a subscription or rental process, they can actually decide when to stop or when to pause or when to upgrade and choose another product or another service. So we would say that we have now implemented what we call the dynamic contract management offering, which I will demo in some minutes, which is a contract, which is the core document in RamBase, which is quite flexible because you need to have something flexible to meet all these customizations and so on, which is frequently used within this business. Also, I would say subscription is 90% about invoicing, because yes, you're providing some quotes, and yes, you're providing some even order confirmations and so on, but as you have agreed with your customer, you want the system to automatically create the invoices and so on during the subscription period. Going a bit more into details, and this is basically the topics that I will demo. As I mentioned already, the contract, it's actually called in the system, in application, it's called the rental contract, which kind of proves that this is rental investment, but a small part of it is subscription. We will go through what we call the subscription calendar hub, which is kind of the place to go if you want to get even more insights into the contract or contract items, doing changes basically for even changing rates or setting subscription on hold, or things like that. Also come a bit into the rate handling, which is you'd say pricing, but we have used other definitions, other words for the price handling in rental to separate it from sales module. So it's called rate, recurring rate in the new application. Also, something to remember is that we also have implemented what we call version handling. So if you compare to sales order or purchase order, where you need to forward it to a new document with a new ID to be able to do some changes, in this new rental contract, you're able to do changes on the same contract, keeping the ID of the document, but then you'll need to have some traceability for the changes, and that's where the version handling is comes into play. Yes. Don't know if there is any questions so far. I could also say, while you're thinking, that the module for subscription, I mean, we're not targeting, or we should not target, like huge companies only doing subscription, which will then need a lot of reporting and analytics capabilities. But we should rather use this opportunity to target, like I said, companies that are in what we call early adopters, which has just recently implemented subscription or recurring revenue business model, and also which is in like early growth stage. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Any questions before we go into demo mode?
I have a small question. When you're recurring invoicing for the contract, could you also have the possibility to invoice in advance and have deferrals?
Yeah.
Is that also included?
You could invoice in advance, and there is some different revenue types available as information in RamBase, which takes that into consideration. But I think as we are touching this topic, it's important to say that there is no revenue recognition capabilities as of now in RamBase or in this new module.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
Yep, no problem. Hopefully you can see RamBase now. Nice, yeah. So just opened the overview of the rental contracts, which has some key figures. What I would do now is open an example of a rental contract, which is a subscription for a certain service, in this case called Christian subscription. Could be RamBase licenses or whatever. So by default, it's showing some order items. So just to try to make it more easy to understand, I've added 5 contract items, 1 for each year, and you can see that there is some changes to the rate. So in this case, there is subscription to a service, like I said, called Christian subscription. A customer has subscribed to, we could call it 10 licenses.
for a year, and you could see that the rates do change for every year due to index regulations, as one example. And the client has provided different POs for each subscription period. So we can get a bit more into the details and see the different options for invoicing, which is quite important for a subscription module. So for each contract, you can choose among different finance settings, we can call them. And one of them is like the question. You could choose between payment in advance or in arrears. You could also choose for each contract if the invoices should be scheduled weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, or annually. You can also, if you set up a contract to be invoiced in advance, you could also choose how many days in advance of the next period that the invoice should be automatically created. Or you can have a bit more control by saying that the contract should be invoiced manually. Also, in what's quite new compared to other documents in RamBase is that a contract can contain items which is both in order stage, but also in quotation. So you can actually, for an ongoing contract, you can create quotes in a separate folder with specific quote items, which will then be converted into orders. Like in this case, it could be pending response from the customer, or it could even be set to rejected if the customer do reject the quote. So those will be visible in the same overview, listing all the items from a contract. Also, we can go a bit back to the invoicing topic, because this is almost all about invoicing. So there is a folder called invoice periods, which then shows for each period, because this contract is set up to be invoiced on a monthly basis automatically and in advance. So you could see that all the months for last year has been invoiced. Most of them you have received payment. For some you missed the payment, and in this case for January, RamBase has created the invoice automatically and put it in status 1. So you'll have some manual follow-up to do before issuing the invoice. And you can see also the future periods, obviously, because this contract is set to expire in 3 years' time or 4 years. Yes, can show you some of the other bits and pieces that was mentioned on the PowerPoint slide, and one of them is what we call the calendar hub, which is breaking everything down into a day level, because that's the way it is within subscription and rental. So in this case, you can see that the revenue is being revenue types is being calculated for a certain day. So if I would like get the status from the 1st of January, I can see in terms of this rental contract item, what was the current state for this in 1st of January, or you can select today's date or even select the range. And this also is one of the ways you can go to change if you want to apply some discounts because the services that you're offering has not been operational for a week, or if you will change the rates, or you even put the the subscription on hold as examples. Also, you could say some difference in how to navigate compared to the standard documents available in RamBase. So that could be important to get into. Yes, I think I will end it by going through briefly the version log. Because as I said, this contract has been, there has been applied a lot of changes to the contract. And you can see there that you can inspect all the previous versions. So this is based on actually the user deciding when to create a new version of the contract. So like you can compare it to a snapshot. So the contract, when it was created in first place and the user was saying that create a new version, all the contract items was in a quote stage. And during the lifetime of the contract, you can see the next version, all the quote items was being converted to contract items in order stage. So the customer did accept the quote. And you can see as long as into the next version, there has been added an additional quote item and so on. So you could actually inspect all the changes done to the contract on a contract level, or even go into more of the details into each item to inspect what was changed and by who and so on. Yeah, I think I will stop it there, and I can just say that when the rental module is being launched, you can then have a rental contract where you can add both contract items of type rental and subscriptions. So you can combine those types of item types within one contract. And if you go even more into the future, our plans is to make it possible to add sales items into a contract as well, because especially within the rental industry, in some cases you're selling some products along with the equipment that you're renting. Yes, I think that was it for me. There might be some questions. Nope.
When this is general available from mid February, then you can also go in and check out the features and function. Of course, this needs to be activated to see it. So for customers, I will assume that they will not get something completely new out of right after the launch of this new feature. So I assume that you will not get any questions about this before you have familiarized yourself with it and starts talking to customers about it. So they will give you an opportunity to test out this before you go all in. I guess, Christian, confirm please.
Yes, yes, that's true. And if you're in doubt with anything, if you have a customer case or anything, just take contact, I would say, with us. I think also, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned this, but I think actually the new module is available in your partner systems. But you'll need to add yourself as a user into some of the new subscription roles. Yeah, if you're interested, I think you have the opportunity to dive into the details.
Good. Thank you very much, Christian.
Welcome.
Let's continue the show. We also have we have Christian, of course. He's presented now subscription. We also have from the team Eldin, which is on procurement. Then we have Katarina, which is on finance, and Sanki, which is on logistics. And of course, Olena, who is our product marketing specialist, and she is responsible for coordinating the launches and the activities of enablement. Putting this presentation together. So that's the team that's available. So if you have questions, don't limit your questions to things that you imagine I can answer, because that's of course limited. I also have the brains of these other people here, if that helps. So then let me get back to the bits and pieces of features and stuff that we launched this quarter. So we have organized this launch and the release details into some thematic pillars. To showcase how each feature aligns with a specific type of customer. So in this launch, we are focusing on make-to-order manufacturing of custom products. And each area, each feature release, we present it in two ways. We have one way where we present a list of features and how that provides value. And also we have a value message slide where we're sort of focusing on the value message and not list up all the features. So by making sure that you can use this in whatever way you want when you get the material, make it your own. So. When we're talking about the value messages, we need also to have some background information on value drivers in mind. So that means that we, for instance, need to know that, for instance, there are some economic value drivers for each of our customers, and that can be divided into two groups. Of course, they want to have be profitable, so they are attending or are monitoring their operating margin, and of course, they want to have capital efficiency. So the components of this, you of course know that operating margin is a function of revenue and cost. So ways of increasing or protecting revenue is important for the customers, hence also the subscription and later on also the rental features, and also job order management in terms of generating revenue for services. On the cost control side, of course, it is important for them to have a control of the cost. And when we're talking about features, it's sort of, if you can explain it based on a cost control perspective, that will give them an understanding of the value we provide. Also, in terms of working capital, for instance, accounts payable, accounts receivables, inventory, that sort of stuff. Of course, there are non-economic value drivers as well, and one of the major value drivers are risk, and they want to reduce the risk, so they need to have tools to help them be compliant, have resilience, focus on safety, and of course now also a big focus on ESG. So that sort of things are related to what a business would consider a value. Of course, every company that we work with have some competitive priorities. Sometimes it is flexibility and responsiveness. Flexibility being agile and responding fast to changes. Being responsive is all about having a shortest possible throughput time, and you compete on the speed of operations. And of course, you want to be reliable. You have to be on time. You have to have the right quality, and you need to have the right quantity. Basic stuff. And of course, on the efficiency side, they want to have a good utilization of the resources that they put into their processes. For a company that is in our target group, like a make-to-order with custom products, it is flexibility and responsiveness that is the main competitive priorities. But of course, don't forget our selected industries qualifiers, so to speak. These needs to be in place for us to compete for our specific industries. And these are, as you know, the embedded quality tracking that we have, and we are also enhancing and traceability, the process and material traceability in our system. Document control, for instance, the document requirements, approvals, and sharing of documents, and the tracking throughout the system. And of course, governance is important for all of our customers. So that means governance means being in control. So that means that they have set standards and processes, and they are in control of their processes and the value they create and the risk and all that stuff. So these are sort of things that sort of form the backdrop for our presentation of what we have done in a quarter. Because we're looking at it through the lens of, for instance, flexibility and responsiveness for MTO manufacturing company of custom products, meaning contract manufacturing. They need to stay in control, and they need to be flexible and responsive to changes in their customer requirements. We know that these customers, they have orders to fulfill, and they have customers that are demanding and also are changing their minds frequently. So that means that they need to respond to the challenge of these changes through adjusting production plans. So example of tools in this area, and this is the things that are recently launched. These things are just a list. Of course, we have a lot of features in that area, but for instance, the lead time calculator, the point is to have a reliable delivery dates based on available material, of course, the lead times that you have, the process times that you have, and also insight into the available capacity. So that will give you an accurate response time and also optimize the speed of delivery through seeing how you need to prioritize, for instance, if you need to change something. Of course, scheduling productions should be easy, and we have good capabilities of doing that. Of course, it doesn't cover all scenarios, but for us it is important that you have features that can help you in the scheduling area. And when changes happens, you also need to reschedule. And what we have launched now is the possibility to include rescheduling for sub-productions, so to complete the work order tree, if there is a changing on the sales order. So that is controlled by a setting. Of course, as Bilkit has been waiting a long time for features on this area, and now the things that we have planned are delivered. And it's, of course, being able to capture the exact specification and any modifications made during the production. So that means that you are more flexible and you don't need to have all the details before you start the production, and you can sort of build a plane while in air. Of course, scrap and release makes it more efficient for the operator to handle and work with scrap and remove scrap in the production. And also for this kind of companies, we know that they have frequent changes in their production or product, the parts and structures and so forth. And we have done significant improvements in the upload of new products. So quite soon we will have a lot more capabilities within that, and also the quality of the load is much better, where for instance the error logging and all that stuff has been cleaned up. So that is a major improvement. So, and I talked about in the introduction here that we will see this in different ways. So you can also, it's easiest to talk about when you're talking about specific features, but we can also say that these features give us agile and reliable production planning. It gives us the capabilities within rescheduling and structuring the workflow, and also focusing on efficient throughput despite changes. So that's another way of turning the messaging from features and function into value messaging. I will not read all details in all slides because you will get all this, including a notes part of each slide that goes more into details on each element. And you can also see that in the slides here, there are the things that are underlined. That's links to the documentation. So on control and reliability for a contract manufacturing, they need to be reliable. The customers are relying on them, and they need to have control on what they're doing on behalf of their customers. The customers are demanding, and we are delivering enhanced traceability, precision, and automating processes for complying to customer and process requirements, reducing the manual errors, and ensuring your product meets the latest industry standard. That means, for instance, like the task functionality has been extended to pre-production and production tasks, which helps you execute things that needs to be done before you start the production, and things that needs to be done during production that is not directly a part of the operation, but can sort of help you in tracking what you do to get both the production prepared and also executing the manufacturing processes. Product marking, of course, product marking requirements are important, and the cost of getting the marking wrong can be very high. So that makes a better solution for making sure that you have the requirements documented and it follows the order throughout to manufacturing based on set templates. Also, the manufacturing record book. When we talk about that, we often talk about just the manufacturing record book. I think the value of this is not to be able to make a book in itself, but it is that you have document requirements that is traced in the system, and you're triggered to provide documents. And when you have documents, you also have a document approval process. And you get this linked up to a production, and you get the unit trace lists and link it to the production structure. So that means that you have a traceability that you also can document. And there is the manufacturing record book, the key to providing evidence to your customers based on templates that can be provided from the customer of what you have actually produced with all traceability information. So this is a strong feature. And also, of course, when you do or make to order manufacturing, you need to have good overview over sales orders and how orders flow through the system. And of course, we have done improvements on the PWO menu and orders overview. This is not completely new, but it is important for this kind of manufacturer. And of course, for these in the electronic industry, we have extended the capabilities around manufacturing part number. Now it can be directly linked to a purchase price and the related supplier in ART. So that then makes procurement of these components simpler and more accurate. So you get the right MPN number from the right supplier for the right price, or you can select based on this information. All right, and if we turn this around on control and reliability, we can say that, well, we want the process and production control, we want compliance and traceability, and we want to have a streamlined production and oversight over the work orders. And these are the things that we deliver in this release, and of course also in the systems as it is. So that means that you can you have possibilities to put on capabilities here that you provide value to the specific customers that you are addressing. On the logistics side, we have also done some changes and a good enhancement in the goods in transit capabilities. We have increased the transparency in that process so that you know when stuff is shipped from the supplier, and you can plan the reception. And we track information such as tracking number, estimated time of delivery, and departure time, and all that stuff that you need to sort of follow up on your in transit movements on the procurement side. On fulfillment planning, we probably have seen already, of course, that there are changes to how you do or how you can do the prepare for picking, where you can also assign picking operation to operators, and you can create pick list across sales orders and also across customers. In addition, on the stock taking side, we have done some improvements, making it a more intuitive and also enable more criteria-based stock taking based on, for instance, value and also stock classification. So you can create picking now stock taking lists based on more criteria, and also the workflow has been enhanced. So that's sort of being reliable on keeping an accurate inventory. And here we of course have the same things in a different perspective. So being reliable, you can enhance your coordination and have a process-oriented workflow. With some bullet points there. And we also have some features that we will put under the umbrella of efficiency, and these are examples related to time used. So work time utilization is now introduced, where you can compare worked hours with the registered hours on in pod, and also on production work orders. So that means that, of course, for customers that are using WHL and tracking presence of their resources or their employees, they then also can track, for instance, the utilization of the resources. Another area where we are focusing on sort of the efficiency, that's sort of when you are analyzing the actual time used in production versus the planned time, and you find deviations. You can also optimize this, making sure that you have a good or realistic base data for your productions. And that sort of has a good sales pitch, because this last feature is enhancing your capabilities of taking efficiency gains and reflecting the learning curve of manufacturing. For instance, if you have a learning curve, you will probably use less and less time on producing stuff, and that means that you can also update the planned time on the planned productions. And of course, our labor utilization for many companies, or most companies, the labor is a major part of your cost structure. So that means that having control over that resource is, of course, key to success. And this is, of course, also maybe for more repetitive manufacturing, where you have more activity and more learning curve. When you have batches or repetitive manufacturing, this becomes more and more important. On the finance side, we have done some changes. We have done something on the fixed asset register. We've have added some gross fixed asset fields, so you can report on that, catering to better reporting, and that's also linked to the reporting that you need to do to the government. For Poland, we have done a extension related to whitelist, checking up that the companies that you do trade with are vetted, and that is done towards a public a list of whitelisted companies, and of course the SAFT reporting in Norway, which is of course is also relevant for other countries, just they're called other names. So that was on the finance side. So I'm not sure if we have any questions or things that you are wondering about. In my view here, I don't see comments, and since everything was completely clear, there are no questions. So thank you. Because now we are getting towards the end of the presentation. So of course there are no screenshots and stuff like that in this presentation. There is no detailed demonstrations. Everything is documented in the documentation. So that means that you can find most of what you need. What we try to do is focusing on the value statements and where it provides value, and it should provide you with information that you can use on selling features and functions and also solutions. So that was most of the things that I had. But of course, now what? Ollie, you are coordinating the enablement.
Yeah, so now what indeed? One question would be is when we hand this over to you now, how do you know that if your team or you are enabled? So I just wanted to reiterate the definition of that. Enablement are the activities we need to do to be ready to address the market and our customers of our products and solutions, which is managed by the launch process, which we are in now. So the outcome of the launch process is company readiness and general availability of our products and solutions, which we define as then we are ready. So to know you're enabled means that you are ready to address the market, sell the solution, support and implement our solutions as well. In this case, for this launch process for the Q1, it's subscription and all of the features that we talked about today. So the launch process is also reliant on a go, no-go meeting that we will have internally later in February to decide if we are, as a company, ready to launch the items presented today. If we have a go, the material shared with you will be okay to be utilized, presented externally. If we have a no-go, we will need to finish up whatever is missing in the enablement process and then have another go, no-go meeting to decide if we are all enabled. So we will provide you with some files such as this presentation and recording from today. Ellen will reach out to you to know when they are ready, and they should be available in the partner portal. I think we'll link it to a photoware file, which will have all the launch material there for you to use. So the content usage guide is when and where can I start using this content. So this presentation is good to use just to kind of get familiar with the type of things we are releasing for this quarter, things that you might see that's like, oh, this, I have a customer that this might be really relevant for, but until we have a go to know that we're ready to use, like launch this releases, it's good for now to do some internal training. But also wanted to do some like, how can you make use of what we've spoken about today? So one being the marketing and demand generation, sales and customer engagement, and customer support retention. You might see something, you might have seen something in here that you have gone, I would actually like to write a LinkedIn post about that because I have a lot of really cool clients in make to order, or I want to reach out to this customer. You can just take some topics from here and build upon it yourself. Of course, we have Anne-Louise, our head of marketing, for all types of marketing related inquiries. If you wanted to do more, if you need more use of materials such as pictures, logos, update the logos, or if you wanted to do some co-branded content. Yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and from our side, this material, or no, not this material, but these features and function and updates, for instance, on the subscription part, will also be available on our web page. So you can see sort of the features and functions on updated web pages from approximately the 17th of February. So that's sort of our plan. So that's in production by marketing currently. Yeah. Any further questions?
Now you can speak out. You don't have to write it down, so you can. Now you are allowed to talk and ask questions again. Follow you.
That's good.
No questions. Everything was clear for everyone.
Or it was completely unclear, so
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. Let me just tell you one more thing here, and that is that, now we are 30th of January, we're way into Q1, and you might feel that, well, this is a little bit late. We're planning to have the next launch presentation to you in week 13. That means that we are still in Q1. So I think then it brings us a little bit earlier, and gives us a little bit more time to prepare for things being generally available. So if you looked at the launch plan that I presented after the roadmap, it said May for the releases or the launch for Q2. So the plan is that we need to notify you earlier, give you a little bit details on the things that we are launching. So that's at least how we plan it as we go along.
Any comments from anyone? Do you think this is useful to do?
Absolutely. I think
Yep.
this kind of launch event is a great improvement in the communication of upcoming features. I mean, you talked about this during the previous year, but this is the first time I actually see it in full effect, and I think it's great for us partners.
Yep.
It makes a huge
Good to
difference in packaging it, and also the value messaging. I think is really good. So we obviously know and have seen a lot of the changes live when we work in the system, but this also brings it into the context of the overall roadmap. So
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Thank you,
Well,
Carl.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah.
On behalf of the Polish partners who are not here yet, unfortunately, I'd like to thank everybody for a really very informative session. I want to clap my hands for just this initiative to share the information on a structured, regular basis. This is really fantastic. And of course, my commitment is to share this information I've learned today with all the Polish partners, and we will be waiting for Olena's feedback regarding when we can go to the external world and spread this very good news. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good to hear. Yeah. So then what we need to do is wish us all the best of luck for the coming launches and bringing all this good stuff out in the market and getting happy customers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And we will try to upload both the recording here and the material as soon as possible. And I'll send you a message with this information so then you can find it easily on the partner portal. It will be placed on the partner guidelines and the product information. So for your knowledge. So have a nice day, everyone, and thank you all for attending.